Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning, a question and answer Friday. How do you like the hat? Okay, let's get a few folks on with us, and as we get started, you get your notifications today. Good to have you on, and let's say hello to, who's number one? Brahim. And Brahim, we're praying for you. I hear you're in a lot of pain. Mike, Norland. And Brahim is from Portland, Oregon. Sandy, how are you? And Janice, Brampton. Doris. And Elisa. And Bill, good morning. Joanne, North Bay. Betty Lynn, Brantford. John, how are you? From Elgin, Illinois. Wendy, good morning. And Mary, Norwich. And Crystal, how are you? Jeanette, from Hearst, Ontario. Carrie, Nebraska. And Gina, good morning. Annette, nice to have you on. Yvonne, Petawawa. And Deb from Detroit, Michigan. Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. Fran from Orangeville. Cecilia, good morning. Sudbury. And Anna, La Caraita. Jeanette, good morning. Sharon, Kansas City. Carolyn, hello. Bonjour from Edmonton. Janet, good morning. Doc McEwen, how are you? From West Tennessee. Gary from Bolton, I think. John, good morning. Hazel, St. John's, Newfoundland. Rita, good morning to you. And Tammy, Penetang. Sue, good morning. And Leslie, how are you? Thunder Bay. Eola, Manitoba. Arlene. Francis, good morning. And Lorraine, how are you? Okay. Rosa, good morning from Montreal. Andrea from the Kidneys of Canada, Niagara Falls. Nancy, how are you? Madeleine, Kippawa. Suzanne, Edmonton. Wendy from Grand Valley. And Bernice, how are you? B and Dawn. Louise, how are you? Dave from Muskoka. Cheryl, Jesus loves you. Yes, he does. Louise. Joanne. And from Sudbury. Douglas. Coffee time with Dr. Martin. You're absolutely right, and I'm having my coffee now. Carol from the Dominican. Donna. And Frida. Okay, here we go, guys. I got my questions. Before I start, I want to show you my t-shirt, okay? I think I got to back up a little bit so you can see all of it. Don't feed the bears. And don't feed the bears hat. We've had a few t-shirts and hats made for the program. How do you like that? Don't feed the bears. Okay, now, let's get to our questions this morning. Okay, who's first? Number one, Keith. Aside from the mentioned probiotics, bone broth, less stress, enzymes, and diet, what exactly would a meal plan look like on a typical day for someone with SIBO, or better called SIFO? What is that? Small intestine fungal overgrowth, because that's really what it is. Medicine has coined it SIBO, small intestine bacterial infection. Really not a bacteria. And I got to do a little bit of teaching, Keith, just so that we talk about this for a minute. Ladies, when you get a recurring urinary tract infection, understand it's not a bacteria. It's yeast. It's fungus. That's what keeps... Sure, bacteria shows up, but it's not the culprit. Yeast is the culprit. And you get that when you take one antibiotic, okay? You have a urinary tract infection. Doctors sometimes, even without symptoms, they put people on an antibiotic. I don't like that. I don't like that. I like antibiotics. They can save your life. But I don't like when you take them when you have no symptoms, okay? And even if you do, when you take an antibiotic, it wipes out all your friendly bacteria. You know what happens in the small intestine when you get an overgrowth? It's because number one reason is antibiotics in that area too. You get a fungus. You get an overgrowth of yeast in that area. You get bloating. You're very unwell. Your digestive tract is not working properly. Okay? So the question is, okay, what is a meal plan? Give me a typical meal plan for a day with SIBO. Well, you see the hat? The reason I came up with the statement, the expression, don't feed the bears, was because of yeast. Okay? Parasites are the same thing. Don't feed them. What is their primary source of fuel? Sugar. So you don't get any sugar. And in SIBO, I mean, go Google it. And they'll tell you, lay off the meat. And, you've got to have a diet with fruits and vegetables. Listen, I don't agree with that at all. You already have bloating. Don't feed. So no sugar. And for 30 days, if you really want to help SIBO or SIFO, then I would lay off for all fruits and vegetables. Whenever, like your whole GI, okay? One of the biggest benefits of the reset is what happens to your digestive tract. Now remember something, we just talked about this important. Your stomach has an acidity, or at least it should. More acidic than a lion's stomach. And we all know lions eat meat. Okay? They eat meat. But your stomach was meant for meat. And when you don't, especially red meat, when you don't eat it, your pH in your stomach changes. Okay? Now, there's other reasons that happens. Because people are living on fruits and vegetables. Because they bought that lie that that's the best way to be healthy. It isn't the best way to be healthy, and not even by a long shot. Your body was never designed to be a vegetarian. Your body was never designed to be a vegan. Never. With no exceptions. Your body wasn't made for that. Okay? Now, a meal plan for SIBO. Well, first of all, no sugar. One of the best things you can do is when you don't eat any omega-6. So no seeds, no nuts, nothing from the middle aisles of the grocery store. They're packed with omega-6. Anything made with those seed oils, lay off, because that creates inflammation. That aggravates SIBO and SIFO. And it aggravates anything in the digestive tract. Okay? Bacon and eggs. You want a meal plan? Start your day with bacon and eggs. Now listen, if you can do I really like anything in the digestive tract. I really like intermittent fasting. 1, don't eat at night. Now, if you can, go past your breakfast. You can have breakfast. I'm just saying, if you can, don't eat for 18 hours. That'll help SIBO. That'll help it. You're not feeding the bears, and your yeast is going to be angry perhaps, but don't feed it. So a meal plan would be, if you're eating in the morning, have bacon and eggs or sausages and eggs. Eggs actually help heal your gut. So does cheese. Okay? And so a meal plan would be around that. Excuse me. So, lunch, I don't know, have some meat. Supper, have a steak. You know that yeast hates steak? Hates it. Can't feed on it. And your bone broth, for example, is L-glutamine, and that helps to regenerate the gut. And I love the broad spectrum probiotics that you mentioned already, but I'm not good at meal plans. I can only give you parameters, okay? And stay within those parameters. That's one of the things, Keith, that I would tell you to do. Okay? Gabriel, what do you think about eating veggies and fruit with A-peel? A-peel sticker on it is some new Bill Gates funded trans fat wax coating. I have to take a breath because there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, well, look, buyer beware. Okay? But, Gabriel, I'm going to come back to my premise. Okay? My premise is this. Okay? If you're on the Titanic, worry about the deck chairs after. So if you're in bad shape, if you have metabolic syndrome and you're in that 93%, it's an eggs, meat, and cheese thing. That's the best thing you can do. If you're eating some fruit and vegetables, yes, there's better. There's organic. There's non-GMO. There's all those things. I want you to beware of them. But when I talk in generalities, look, I'm reading all this stuff too about what's happening to our food supply, and even fruits and vegetables. People think, oh, there's, but there's pesticides and herbicides and all these coatings, and they spray, and I don't like it. I don't like it. But I tell people that's step number 2, not step number 1. Step number 1 is turn the ship around. Okay? And, some people, I get it. I like it. When you're healthy and you want to stay healthy, then you do the little things too. Like read labels and understand these things. And, if they're putting a coating, they're spraying or whatever they're doing to put that coating on vegetables and fruit or whatever, then there's better choices for sure. Okay? There's better choices for sure. But that, to me, is step number 2. Not like, I know people, I'm just going to say in a general sense, there are people that will not start the reset. You know why? Well, Dr. Martin, there's nitrates in meat. Yeah? So what? No, but I mean it. And they think if they live in the vegetable kingdom, that there's no, everything is hunky-dory there. No, it's not. We live in a very, very imperfect world. If you think for 1 minute that you're going to get away from all chemicals all xenoestrogens, all plastics, you're fooling yourself. And I don't care if you move to Costa Rica. You're just fooling yourself. So I'm not saying not to be aware of these things. I'm just saying that if you live on planet Earth, you live in an imperfect world. Okay? It's the way it is. And so I'm very, very big on building your immune system. It's the reason I talk about probiotics all the time. Really important. They're on your side. They help to chelate a lot of those chemicals out of your body and keep your liver clean. That's why I'm so big on the reset, because when you have any form of fatty liver at all, your liver won't work properly, and your liver is the big detox organ in your body. Keep it clean. Why do you think I want you drinking water? Flush out the toxins. Your body is unbelievable what it can do. Okay? Now, good question. Appreciate it. Janet, how important are zinc and copper in our bodies to help control anxiety? Well, yeah, they're important. Where do you get, Janet, where do you get copper and zinc in the same food? What's the answer to that? Steak. So, does steak help stress? Yeah. It's got copper. It's got zinc. Okay? And when you guys hear me, generally, there's some things I would rather you eat than necessarily take as a supplement. Okay? I like supplements, obviously, but I'm big on food first. And that's why I'm so big on steak. Why do I call it sun, steak, and steel? Because steak, liver really, but steak is the number one food on the planet. Bar none, because it has the most vitamins, the most minerals, the most amino acids. It just has a complete profile of nutrition. So yeah, zinc, I love zinc. And it's not that I don't use it as a supplement. I do. Okay? But generally, I talk in generalities. I would rather you eat your zinc. And this is one of the biggest problems I have with vegetarians and vegans. They don't get bioavailable zinc. It's just not in the... Zinc is found in the animal kingdom. Okay? And especially red meat. It's just the way it is, guys. Okay? Good questions. Thank you so much for that, Andrea. No, that was Janet. Andrea, what's the best thing to do for my grandchild who is a type 1 diabetic? Well, type 1 is different than type 2, right? Type 1 is autoimmune. And it started sometimes in the placenta, in the gut. Mommy's gut, baby's gut. And, the microbiome got changed. And the pancreas was damaged, autoimmune. The pancreas sort of turned on itself. And now you have trouble with insulin, so it's a different puppy than type 2. But here's the similarities. Whether you have type 1 or type 2, you have an allergy to carbs. Okay? Now, they won't tell you that. They'll never do that because they're always scared of controlling your blood sugar in a type 1 diabetes, like control. If it goes too low, of course, you're on medication. And insulin is meant to lower your blood sugar. So, of course, you have to be very careful in type 1 especially, but they still do better. I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of type 1 diabetics. I knew they were on their meds. I knew they had to stay on their meds and whatever, but I taught them this principle. You and carbs don't do well together. Now, you might have to take a carbohydrate in order to, if your blood sugar goes too low and you need a quick fix of orange juice, I get it. That's important. But in the long range of things, a type 1 diabetic has to understand they and carbs don't get along. They can only use it almost like a drug. But if they eat a very high animal protein and fat, it makes a huge difference. They find they do better. Their blood sugars are regulated more. They need less insulin. Okay? But it's a different puppy. And what I tell them, if you need a med of a quick fix of carbohydrate and you're a type 1 diabetic, hey, do what you got to do. You don't want to pass out. You don't want to go into a coma. You don't want any of that stuff. But type 1 diabetics do not do well unless they understand their diet. Okay? They have to understand they have a problem with carbohydrates. It only is a quick fix for them. In the long run, they should be eating as much animal, eggs, meat, and cheese as they can. Okay. Thank you for the question, Andrea. Read, Dr. Martin, for mitochondria. Yep, those are your battery packs. Okay? When you eat low carb and change fuels, does it clean up the mitochondria? Yes, it does. Your mitochondria will thank you. Your battery packs will thank you. Remember, this is a tale of two fuels. Okay? This is a tale of two fuels. Dirty fuel is sugar. It's carbs, crappy carbs, any kind of bread, noodles, and, pizza, and, muffins and bagels and all the stuff that we love. That's dirty fuel. And the reason it's dirty is because the second you eat it, it's converted to sugar rapidly. Okay? That becomes dirty fuel. And your body can't get a lot of octane. And remember, fuel, okay? You're eating your mitochondria, okay? Whether they're in your brain, in your heart, or wherever your mitochondria are. They're in all your cells. Mitochondria are the battery packs. And really, and this has been proven thousands and thousands of times, they flourish. They flourish when you give them eggs, meat, and cheese. They flourish, mitochondria. They'll thank you. Because mitochondria at the end of the day produce energy, ATP. Okay? You might remember that from high school chemistry. Okay? Or biology or whatever you took. Okay? So your battery packs will thank you. Yes, and they regenerate and they're happy puppies when you give them the right fuel. I give you another example. I'm going to give you two. One, go to the airport. Okay? Watch jets. What kind of fuel did they put in there? Oh, I think I just stopped by the gas station, get 87 fuel, and I'm going to run out to the airport and put it in a jet. Nah, you don't do that. Jets need high octane fuel, 99%, not 87. We put the cheap stuff in our car because Our cars can run on it, but not a jet. And you're a jet, okay? That's one illustration. You're a wood stove, and you want to heat your house. Paper and twigs or a log? What's better? Paper and twigs? No, that's dirty fuel. Just like that, it burns. You'd rather put a log on the fire. That's a piece of meat. That's an egg. That is cheese. You see why I do what I do? That's why. It's called fuel. Change fuels. And people have been duped because all they can think of is cholesterol. All they can think of is fiber. All they can think of is your body needs some glucose. Nah. They've been duped. They've been lied to. And don't hold your breath for the world to change anytime soon. Don't hold your breath, guys. Just know what the truth is. You need nutrient-dense food for your mitochondria. And thank you for the question, Reed. CA. Why do I feel my heartbeat? Well, when I'm sitting, it feels like my whole body is pulsing. Couple of things, okay? Couple of things to look for. CA, okay? One, you may be anemic, okay? Now, anemia has two forms. You may be low in iron, or you may be low in B12, or it may be both, okay? Whenever people would feel a pulse, they just feel like they can feel their heart or a pulse inside. First thing that I look for was anemia, and it may be borderline. Maybe your blood work is, but like I said, a lot of times, especially with B12, doctors, the B12 test is 100 years old, and they should change the numbers, because unless your B12 is up above 800, you really do have low levels of B12. Check that out, CA. The other thing is, it may be your cortisol. It may be, unbeknownst to you, is your stress hormone, cortisol, is too high. I've seen that, where people feel their pulse. They feel like they hear this. It's like they're beating. And it can be uncomfortable, but that can be high cortisol without you even knowing it. Those are the two things, CA, I would look at, okay? And you're adding Himalayan salt to your water and all that. And look at your resting heart rate. It's excellent, okay? So you're not having a heart attack, that I can tell you. Krista, I have Graves' disease, okay? That is, Graves' disease is an autoimmune disease of the thyroid. Excuse me. I was recently told that ashwagandha is not good for a person with these conditions. I don't know who told you that, Krista, but I don't agree with that. I have been using ashwagandha for years, and I've used it for hypo and hyper. I've used it in autoimmune, and I find it to be a tremendous benefit to the thyroid no matter what. The other thing I like about ashwagandha, it's very anti-inflammatory, and it's well tolerated. So I don't agree, Krista, whoever told you that. Now, anytime you have Graves, or Hashimoto's or whatever with the thyroid, you gotta be, I'm a big guy on starting with the diet and really, really eliminating. And remember, any autoimmune started in the gut. So you usually have a fungal proliferation in the body, so don't feed the bears. Okay? Thank you, Krista. Dana. Could you recommend any natural remedy for sciatic pain which is caused by 2 herniated discs, poor you, and spinal stenosis? Okay, I had pain in my leg for 6 weeks, and yeah, no fun. Now, what I recommend, okay, what I recommend for sciatica is our inflammation formula. If we don't get that back soon, I'm going to blow my stat. Anyways, out of our control, I liked it, high doses. The other one you can do, okay, in the meantime, is curcumin, okay? High potency curcumin, high doses. Try about 10, 12 of those a day for 3 days. Do a hammer of curcumin. I use some Navital too. Some people have really found that in excruciating pain from sciatica that it really helps, okay, over the years. Now, you've done your stretching and that, and be careful. Usually with sciatica, I used to really look at the piriformis, which is it comes across right at the midpoint of your bum, your buttocks, and that usually is pinching, and it's so tight, and it's going over top. And I know you have stenosis, I know you have discs, but okay, that can be effective by releasing that. Releasing the piriformis can really help. Get a ball. Okay, I think I have one here. Okay, get a ball. It's got to be a hard ball. Okay, and this is for trigger points, but get that underneath your butt and hit that piriformis. Go easy to start, especially if you're in a lot of pain. But if you can release that piriformis, that will help, okay? Try the curcumin hammer, I call it. Thank you, Diane. So I understand clearly. The LDL number, no matter what it is of no concern to cholesterol. Why? Well, Diane, let me just say this first, okay? Because it's really important to understand. And this is a rinse and repeat moment, because I repeat this all the time. Okay? Ready? Okay. Why am I not concerned about LDL cholesterol? Because it's a scam. Okay? It's a scam. No one ever had a heart attack because they had high LDL cholesterol. Now look, I know this is controversial, but I got to give you something I say all the time. The overarching principle, okay? Cholesterol, Diane, is on your side. You don't want low cholesterol. I know your doctor does, and most doctors do, but it's because they're looking for love in all the wrong places. You got to understand that in the 1950s or the 60s, okay, they weren't trying to lower your cholesterol. What happened? Well, they got duped. It started a long time before that, but by the time it hit, cholesterol was made the boogeyman, just like the sun. It was the boogeyman. Cholesterol gonna kill you. Cholesterol, 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 cholesterol. And why do you think the consumption of meat is down somewhere around 30 or 40%? Has heart disease got better? Nope. If it was cholesterol, we would have got rid of heart disease. Because they were looking at putting statin drugs. And by the way, that's what statin drugs do. They lower your LDL. Okay? They lower your LDL. Why do you want to do that? See, that's me. Why? LDL cholesterol, if you lower it, you're just going to die younger. Okay? God, okay, whether you believe in God or not, I do, okay, big time. But, Diane, listen. Here's how your body works. Cholesterol is on your side. Okay? On your side. What does it do? Well, it's in every cell in your body. Cholesterol's in your brain. Cholesterol, you can't live without cholesterol. 85% of your cholesterol, God makes it for you. Your body makes it. Do you think it's important? Yeah. 15% you're responsible for. And cholesterol is only found in the animal kingdom. It's not found in the plant kingdom. So why do you think there's all these gurus, every medical school, every dietitian, almost every nutrition person that I've ever talked to will say, yeah, you got to be careful with cholesterol. Why? Why? Cholesterol is the FedEx trucks, the Amazon trucks, the whatever trucks on the highways and byways of your blood vessels, and they transport things for you. One of the reasons that women have so much trouble with their hormones is they don't eat enough cholesterol. They've been told the lie that salad is better than steak. No, it's not. No, it's not. They've been told that it's better to eat salad than it is to have an egg. No, it's not. No, it's not. And Dr. Martin, doesn't cheese make me fat? No, it doesn't. Cheese don't make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. Okay? So it comes down, Diane, to that. Okay? So if you want to send me your LDL cholesterol number, well, sure, send it. But I won't comment on it. Because it's not significant. Well, it is in a way. If it's low, that's not a good thing. It might please your doctor, but it's not going to do anything for your health. Case in point, look, we've had 40 years more of statin drugs. They haven't even made a dent in heart disease. The number one selling medication of all time. Hasn't even made a dent. It's worse than ever. So eat your cholesterol. You got to provide 15%. You need fat. Healthy fat is cholesterol. And what I do look in the blood work, I want to know two things when it comes to your lipid profile. I want to know your HDL, okay, which is cholesterol. It's just a different form. There's no such thing as bad. You need high HDL and you need low what? Low LDL? Nope. What is it? You need low triglycerides, fat balls, TGs. And you only get fat balls not when you eat fat, is when you eat sugar and crappy carbohydrates. Okay? Now that's cholesterol 101. I don't expect the world to change anytime soon. There's too many factors. Big Pharma is too big. They're too powerful. They have every politician just about in their back pocket. And they got Health Canada and they have the FDA. I mean, how are you going to change anything? Do I hold my breath? Not even for a minute do I hold my breath, waiting for a change. No, I tell the other side. My job is to tell the other side. And listen, God gave you a brain, use it. And then that's up to you. And you're going to have a lot of pressure, especially if you have high LDL. You'll have a lot of pressure to get that down. And to take a medication to get it down. Okay, well, what's that going to do for you? Anyway, that's me. And I think one thing about my audience, they will agree on. Whether they agree with me or not, but one thing they will agree on with me is that I've been consistent about that. Have I? Have I been consistent about that? You bet your boots. I never, ever, ever believed in the cholesterol hoax. Why do you want to get your cholesterol down? That's the question that I asked. Okay? So LDL, it's important. You know what LDL, I brought this, you can actually look. I've got podcasts on this. LDL is really important for your immune system. I got to do some teaching on that again, just to refresh everybody's memory. You don't want to have low LDL. Okay? Diane, you got me going. Okay? I think that's a song. Okay, let's keep going and let's go faster because I'm slow as molasses today. And what does it mean when you have low creatinine levels? It means your kidneys are stressed. High or low. Your kidneys are not working properly. And usually that's because people are carboholics. I talked about the kidneys, was it yesterday? And when kidneys get in trouble with the consumption of sugar and insulin, what insulin does to the kidneys, insulin resistance, okay? Low creatinine or low or high creatinine, your kidneys are in trouble. Change your diet. Shauna, I've lost my taste of smell due to a virus. Yep. Is there a blood test I can take? Well, you could get your zinc levels checked in your blood. Get that checked. They can do it. In the meantime, if you're done that, Shauna, I would have you on zinc. Take about 50 milligrams of zinc citrate a day. Okay? Eat more steak. Okay, that's how you get zinc. And eggs, meat, and cheese. Eggs, meat, and cheese. Okay, Meta, can you touch on the question of cheese curds again? Why do curds have more K2? Because they're soft. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. Why do cheese curds, why are they number one on the hit parade for K2? Okay? Now remember, K2 is found in eggs, meat, and cheese. K2 isn't found in the plant kingdom. K1 is. Why is K2 important? Because it's the way it's meant to be. God wants you to eat calcium. And along with calcium, puts K2 right in the food. Okay? That's why we put vitamin K2 in our vitamin D, in order to take calcium and not leave it in the bloodstream, but put it in your bones where calcium belongs. Okay? Why do curds have more? I think it's because it's soft, but I don't understand. You know what? Somebody better teach me that mechanism of why. I don't know why. It just is. Okay. I like the question, though. I do, Meta. Kim, can you please tell me if there's anything that can be taken for cirrhosis of the liver? Well, look, here's how your liver works when it's going downhill. Fatty liver, okay? Fatty. Fibrosis of the liver the liver loses its function to some extent, and it's getting hardened, and it's lost its ability to work the way it should, and then you get cirrhosis of the liver. Now the liver has become completely diseased. Can you reverse it? Well, look at, if there's any organ in the world that can be reversed, it's the liver. And the reason is because your liver, it is so important. It does over 600 things. And it has the amazing ability to regenerate if you give it the tools, and that's eating the reset. So if someone has cirrhosis, maybe too late. But you could certainly try it. Water, I would do fasting, intermittent fasting, eating in small windows in a day and the rest of the day, and I would never ever touch a carbohydrate. And no alcohol. Zero, nada. And drink a lot of coffee because that cleans your liver. And I would actually look at doing coffee enemas. Okay? Andrea. 2 more, guys, and we're almost done. Protocol for recurring ear infections. Well, Andrea, you came to the right place, because if you have recurring ear infections, if you have recurring bladder infections, it's yeast. It's fungus. It gets in moisture in the ear canal. Don't feed the bears. I got my hat on today to remind you of that. Okay? Don't feed it. Broad spectrum probiotics. Oil of oregano. Don't, you may put a little touch. Don't go in deep. You could make a little solution, but you got to be very, very careful and dilute it very, very well. Okay? But you need, like the ear canal, inside out. Probiotics are excellent. Don't feed the bears. Oil of oregano internally really makes a difference. It's an overgrowth of yeast. And I don't know how many kids had their tonsils removed. Okay? Their tonsils removed at the sign of an infection. When it really was, it wasn't bacterial, it was fungus. It was a yeast infection. And yeast makes things, it makes bread grow, doesn't it? It'll make everything else grow too. Okay? Thanks for the question. Last one, Anita. Anything for carpal tunnel without surgery? Well, I am really big on carpal tunnel, not being a pinching of the carpal nerve so much. I find over the years that one usually came from the neck and not the wrist. 1. 2. Carpal tunnel often is a sign of insulin resistance. Okay? Where did you hear that first? At the Martin Clinic. Carpal tunnel, which is like an epidemic today. And I know people are, they're on the computers and they're at a desk and they're working at home and they're more susceptible. But I'm telling you, carpal tunnel is a sign of insulin resistance and inflammation. Okay? I call it glycation. It's when sugar attaches itself to protein. Okay? We call that glycation. Get rid of the sugar. Get on. You know what an anti-inflammatory diet is? It's not fruits and vegetables. An anti-inflammatory diet is when you lay off sugar and you lay off vegetable oil, and they're not even vegetable oils. Everything in the middle aisle of your grocery stores are made with seed oils. And don't eat sugar. Again, don't feed the bears. Okay, guys. I'm breathing. That was fun. Okay? That was fun. Thanks so much for the questions. We really appreciate it. Okay, we love you dearly, guys, and I mean that sincerely. The best audience in the world is my audience. Smart, smart, smart are you guys. Love you. Love those questions. Talk to you soon.